Hey friend, welcome to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. I'm Gabby Flater, a faith-led wife, mom of 3, certified nutrition consultant, personal trainer, and passionate about changing lives. I know how frustrating it can be to navigate the health and wellness world. You want to be motivated to prioritize your well-being and wish you were more educated when it comes to cultivating a healthy home. Maybe you're a mom who's completely burnt out and needs a fresh perspective on life, or you're searching for a place to feel seen, heard, and encouraged in a godly manner. No matter if you're doing the dishes, getting your sweat on, or drinking reheated coffee while watching the kids play, there is always an opportunity for growth. If you are ready to finally take action about these desires and are ready to learn, grow, and transform your mind, then you are in the right place. It's time to establish deeper roots so you can enjoy a more fruitful and fulfilling harvest. Let's dig in. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Get Rooted in Health podcast. My name is Gabby, and thank you so much for tuning in this week, today, wherever you're at. I appreciate you turning this on and just being here. I appreciate every single one of you. It's been a whirlwind here, I feel like, for life. First of all, I just want to note, if you recognize the sound difference, I am just capitalizing on a napping baby still here in the morning, and I can't get in my room to get my microphone. So I'm just recording via my laptop audio. So I apologize if the audio is not as high quality as it normally is, but the content is still high quality. So that's what we're really here for. So I appreciate you bearing in with just a little bit less, maybe volume and fullness to my voice. But my kids are next door. I've told you, I mom swap, and this is my window of time. And I really want to capitalize on it. And I didn't expect her to be sleeping this late. So I'm just going to keep going with it, and just want to sit here and talk to you guys. So if it sounds a little bit different around me, that's why. All right. So yeah, life has been bonkers. My youngest daughter just turned 1. I cannot believe it. I feel like I was just sitting down sharing my birth story with you guys. And if you care to listen to that, you can scroll back and find that. I'm not exactly sure on the exact episode, but I can also link it if you care in the show notes. But we had a wonderful time celebrating her, but I will say I was majorly just stressed and questioned why I did it. But I know why I did it, and it's because there's just so much joy in getting to celebrate that big milestone. I don't do birthdays for every single year, but the first birthday is just such a joyous time, and we have so much family around us and friends that we wanted to share in that joy with. And so I know it's a hard time of year with tax season for my husband. Zero ability for him to be able to help me, basically. And nighttime when he was done with work, and by the time we get the kids to bed, I'm not going to ask him to help prep food or decorate the home or anything. It's just, I'm done by then. Even I don't even want to do it at 8-9 o'clock. So I was burnt out. It was worth it, but definitely just, I was maxed out on many different levels. And one thing that I am learning to work on, maybe you can relate, is just the learning that it's okay to ask for help. Accepting help is not necessarily my strong suit, but I have recognized the blessing from it when I have said yes, or I have reached out to someone asking for some help. So if that's you, I encourage you to not be like me, and let's work through it, and let's rally our troops, right? It takes a village sometimes. And I made up all these different stories in my head of why I shouldn't ask this person or this person or this person. And I can do it. That is my personality. I can do it all. And I know I can't do it all. So we'll just leave it at that. But between just the grocery shopping, the house cleaning, the food prepping, planning, and also just life on top of that, like trying to stay on top of all my children. I've also decided to potty train my 2.5-year-old. So, I got that mixed in there. And then there's decorating. And I will just say, I'd love to know, what is your favorite part of like hosting? I love like the food part. Like that is my jam. Like if I can feed people good food and I get all the feedback, like that is, my mission is done, accomplished. Awesome. Decorating, not so much. Could really care less. I will do the bare minimum. I get a very small, like little idea of like what I want something to look like, say by like her birthday chair or like pictures. I printed all her pictures. Thank God I did that ahead of time. Like, my goodness. I probably, yeah, would have cried if I didn't do that at a good time, where I had time in case the pictures didn't turn out, because I had that one year. So I made sure I ordered them ahead of time to make sure everything turned out good. And I could have a little flip book. I could hang up all her months because I took month progression pictures on a blanket, and I wanted those hung up in a little spot for people to look at and for me to have. And they turned out great. So I had those plenty of days in advance. But really, the rest of the decorating, it ain't my jam. Like that is where like Alex comes into play, and he's really good at it, of just like get it done. It's nothing like glamorous. We don't do like giant balloons or balloon arches. Like I don't do all that. Which, now to think of it, I really wanted to do one of those balloon arches and I totally forgot. Someone did one at a baby shower I went to. This is totally a tangent, but it was so cute. And she's like, it was so easy, and it came in a whole kit. I don't know, maybe it was like Amazon or something. And you could spend a lot of money hiring someone to make one of those, if you know what I'm talking about. They're like backdrops, and it's like an arch of balloons. Yeah, it's super cute. Anyway, I guess I'll have to remember that for another birthday. So yeah, I was just maxed out. Like, we seem to work really well, my husband and I, with like, this is just how we work. Sometimes we don't vocalize anything, but we just know each other's roles in certain tasks and prepping for either a trip or a party or hosting or projects. And it's like, I already know what he's going to do, and he probably knows what I'm going to do. And somehow it all gets done in this beautiful rhythm. And I just felt like, holy smokes, I just had to do it all while being a mom as well. On top of like, yeah, all of that. So the cleaning, the prepping, the shopping, the decorating, the planning, all of it. And then trying to stay on top of a child that's potty training. Just talking about it. So needless to say, like, you learn from your experiences, you grow. And my mother-in-law walks in. This is because this is where I needed the help. I realized it. My mother-in-law walks in the door because I asked them if they could bring an extra table and chairs, because I also was stressed knowing like we don't have a hosting house in the winter. Our house does not, for the size of our family, guys. I was planning for 40 to 45 people to come. Okay, there's 15 grandchildren on my in-laws' side, so there's like a lot of bodies. Little bodies, medium bodies, and then all the adult bodies. And then we had some neighbors come over with their kids, and yeah. So food, we got that. We got it taken care of. We did it real simple. We did shredded chicken and pork sandwiches. I did fun thing, like I got a variety pack of chips where you could just the single serve, Fritos and Doritos and Lay's and all of that. My kids' eyeballs were like to the moon because I bought those. Mom never buys those. But hey, you live once, and it was fun, and they loved that. So, and I baked all of the desserts the day before. I was trying to save money as well, feeding a large crowd. And I did not want to buy all the desserts and all the things. So we love Costco cake, but I was like, I make a mean sourdough chocolate cake and I could go for it. So I'm going to make it. I'm going to make cookie bars for the people that don't really prefer cake and don't like sourdough, aka my husband. So I made cookie bars. Then I made Stella's einkorn cake, which I made with, it was basically just like a banana bread. So it was an einkorn banana bread cake. And then had to make the frostings, and then we got ice cream for the side. So yeah, it was just like a whole get up. And my mother-in-law, I was going to say, she walks through the door with the tables and chairs. Oh, there's my daughter. She just woke up. And I break down crying. And my mother-in-law, I could hear say, oh, I knew we should have come earlier. Because she was like, oh, where do you want this? And where do you want that? And where did you have a spot for gifts? And I looked at her and I was like, I don't really know anything. I don't even know why I did this. And then I just start crying. I don't know where to put anything. Figure it out. So she gave me a hug and she just helped my son decorate. My two boys were like, Mom, can we decorate at 3:00? Mom, can we decorate now? Is it time to decorate? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I printed them pictures that they could color. And then I told them, go tape those up. But like leaving kids left to balloons and streamers, that is not going to work. Mom needs to blow up the balloons. Mom needs to help with the tape and cut the streamers and hang them up high. So like I just couldn't be in 3 places at once. So that was where I was at. But once the people came and we got them fed and everything just came into picture, and it was a great time celebrating. And so just, I know moms, it takes so much when planning and prepping and all of that, and just be grateful for when you do have the help, because this was the first time that it felt very overwhelming, and I realized it was because I didn't have my other half to do it with me, because he was working all day Friday and all day Saturday until the party basically. So we couldn't, her birthday was on a Sunday, but we couldn't hold it on there, just like other people couldn't make it, and it just wasn't going to work out well. So it was like Saturday evening was the day to do it. And we just had a family day on Sunday. Alex was off work, and we just hung out, and it was great. So that is where I've been with life, leading up to the birthday party. I feel like it was a whole get up, more than it probably needed to be. So here we are, but I wanted to talk today about perks of homeschooling. This is going to be a really great topic. A lot of things started to flow through my mind, and after conversations with my husband recently, and I had listened to something, or I heard a clip just about like different perks of homeschooling, and it just really like hit me, and I was like, wow. For so long, I felt so incapable and not adequate to be able to do this. And now more than ever, I feel like I've got this. I understand it a little bit more. I can lessen the pressure on myself. And I realized so many of the perks that I didn't know would come from homeschooling, so many benefits and things that I love, that I wanted to share with you, because not everybody gets to experience that. And I didn't get to experience it as a kid. All right, I'm able to get to my microphone now. So the change in audio, here we are. But before we dive into the homeschooling topic real quick, I also wanted to say thank you for being here, because the Get Rooted in Health podcast has made it to its 2-year anniversary. March 12th was the anniversary of me launching this podcast, and it has given me more than I thought. And it's been a really amazing space for me personally, and for me to give to you and to serve you and people around. And if I've never met you or talked to you, thank you for being here. I appreciate all the support, all the downloads, all the listens, all the comments, feedback I get. If you share it with people, it just means so much to me, and we'll just keep continuing to show up here. And I look forward to just seeing how God uses and grows this podcast just organically. I struggle with, obviously time is valuable, and money is helpful. And so figuring out down the road what things like that can look like, but not wanting to come across as this is a podcast that has a million sponsors and, needing all these things that, like brands and partners and all that kind of stuff. I want things to happen naturally. And please know that anything that I ever share on here is only because I've personally experienced it or used it myself, and I would never recommend it unless I, 100% used it myself. So just wanted to put that out there, and thank you again for being here on this journey with me for the last 2 years. So here's to the next year. Cheers to the next year. All right, so let's go right into our topic about homeschooling perks. Now, again, I will say that I was not raised homeschooled. I did not know anything about it. I was not exposed to it till very later on in my teenage years, and I very much stereotyped it. I knew when we got married, my husband and I, that homeschooling was definitely on the table and that we most likely would give it a try. I didn't feel very confident in that decision, but I was telling myself that we were going to give it a try. And plus, it's just the little years, so I can do the alphabet and the colors and shapes. I mean, come on. I can be a kindergarten teacher. I can be a preschool teacher. And then, in my mind, like just the bigger things, I don't know. And, obviously I'm not there yet. My oldest is 7. He's very smart though. So I'm excited to see where that takes him. But this is my second full year that we're wrapping up. This is the second year of homeschooling, but like my second kid has hopped on the train. So out of 4. So I now went from homeschooling the first year with just 1 to then the second year was really roping in more with the second kid. And obviously it'll just kind of keep continuing from there. It's just all the basic play with, kids from ages, 1 to 3 to 4. And my second will be 5 in June. So he'll be starting his second round of homeschooling, more of the one-on-one time come next fall or this fall. And just seeing the growth in my kids and myself and seeing how customizable it all can be has just blown me away. And I'm not trying to say, use this podcast to convert you, but encourage you. I don't know where you are at in your motherhood journey, your season of life, your position on the public school system or just the schools in general, and where you're able to make shifts in your life. Maybe you do want to homeschool, or you're scared, or you don't know anything about it, but I hope that I can be a light as someone who has had zero experience with homeschooling to now homeschooling her children. I now 100% believe that this is what I want to continue to do. And if there's shifts that happen down the road, I'm not going to say that my kid will never go to a school. Maybe one child will. I've definitely seen families where kids just thrive better in the school. They do better without, they just do better with a teacher, not mom. They're very social or whatever. And I also stereotyped that homeschooling was a very non-social thing. My kids are not going to have social skills, and that's absolutely not the case. But just I'll go into more depth about them. But this is just a list of some things that have really just caught me by surprise. Of wow, I don't ever I appreciate these things, and I never had this growing up, and I don't ever want to take it for granted because I know that it's not the ability for everyone. And maybe this will just open your eyes to see the difference and the beauty of homeschooling. And I love, I kind of want to do a little bit more of a deep dive, kind of the history of the education system and how that came about, and just kind of understanding more of, how we got to where we are today. And honestly, it's more of women started to go to work. We started to have this shift in society where females then were being empowered to, I want to work. And I am not anti-women working. However, I feel that our roles have massively developed into, it's a very, shady, I didn't want you to think I was going to say a different word. It gets foggy. And what's the word? Blurry. It gets a little blurry and hard to see what were women doing back then and what are we doing now, and do we have to continue to do that now? We've kind of created this new life in this new world in this new society around women not tending to the things that they used to do in the past. So then we have all these things we're going to work, but yet we're using that money that we went to work for to raise our children or to send them to this or to that. And we're not the ones raising them, and we're not the ones teaching them, instilling them, showing them how to do basic life skills and that just pass on from generation to generation. I mean, think of things that your grandma has taught you or your mom, and that like you cherish those things. And yeah, so let me just run through my list, and then we'll just kind of keep going from there. So the perks of homeschooling that I never really even thought about until now that I've experienced them. We get mornings together. We don't have the rush to the bus rush, or out the door kind of thing. There's no rushing. We're able to have conversation, a slow wake up if we need it that morning, nourishing meals. We don't have to it's not just cereal or, just empty things. Like, they can have time to make something nourishing on a regular basis. They can come and do errands with me and learn about shopping, even though that's very stressful for me. Based on my last little bit when I introed the podcast, it was very stressful to go to the grocery store. But also it's great. I have such great moments and memories of getting to bring my kids at different stages and ages and getting to show them how things are scanned, how you pay, how to bag it, where to find things in the store, what to read on the ingredients. Like, I even just showed my son the difference between, I told him we need some more mozzarella cheese for our pizzas that we make. We make homemade pizzas on Fridays. And he went right away up to the shredded bag of mozzarella cheese. And I said, oh, bud, actually, we're going to go get the blocks of cheese, but can I show you quick why? And I showed him. I flipped over the bag and I said, this is something that mommy looks at many times before buying something. And I showed him the ingredient list, and then I said, let's walk over here and look at the block of mozzarella, because we can shred it ourselves, and this is why I buy the block. And I told him, and there was a teaching lesson right there. That is a school moment, a teaching moment. So we get to live life together every day. They get to have sibling interaction. This is something that I see in many families now. I got to see it in my husband's family. While I am the oldest of 6, it's hard because I didn't actually really grow up as the oldest of 6. I didn't live that life. My blood sister and I are 7 years apart. I have a stepbrother who's in between us. And he was going between homes, and I never fully lived every day with him and at home, kind of thing. And then I moved out and got married at 19. So my younger 3 siblings, my half brother and half sisters, which are just my sisters and brother, to me, but the blended family thing, there's a huge gap. There's a 19-year difference between me and my youngest. So they were babies when I got married, and Josiah was probably, I don't know, he's 16 now. So yeah, I mean, there's a 14-year gap between me and him. So just, I didn't fully live that life even. So getting to see my kids wake up in the morning and turn on the little fireplace that we have, it's like a little electric fireplace in the winter months, and play Uno, because they just learn how to play, and they start their day that way, or they're reading books, or they're excited when little baby Estella wakes up every morning and she comes down the stairs with me, and they all run towards me and they want me to bend over. They want to give her hugs and they kisses, and they smother her, and she's crying because she thinks that they're going to take her away from my arms. But she also just lights up. She gets so smiley, and they aren't rushed off to school already, and she doesn't have to wake up to an empty home. And so, again, while I know that that's not everybody's, it's not the opportunity everybody gets, but these are just the things that I never really thought about. And I'm reflecting back on already the last 2 years, and I really am excited to see where the next many years go with this. We are doing a chicken unit study, and I've shared this. And my mother-in-law noted on the fact that how cool is it that you can do this and then actually apply it practically, because we have chickens, hence why we got the chicken unit. So not only are they learning about it, if they just went to school but went back home, they wouldn't actually have, most kids don't have the whole chicken thing going on, So it's a neat thing to be able, I'm a very hands-on person, to be able to apply it, to do it, to put it into practice is very helpful for me. And so it's so cool to be able to see that come to fruition with my kids, being able to do that. So they get the sibling interaction. Our evenings, they're not taken up by all these sports or extra homework, extracurricular activities, or like wanting to go to friends' houses and things like that. And I grew up with all that. I had the sports, I had the homework, I wanted to go see friends or whatever, go to youth group and all the stuff. And not saying that any of that is wrong, but I've seen how much of it steals away from family. And I really believe that so much that's going on in the world is slowly eating away at people's family bonding, family life, and it's destroying it. And whether or not we want to believe it for what it is, I see it. And I don't want that for my family. I'm not saying that we are our own tight-knit unit and we will never expose ourselves to the world or hang out with anyone. That is not the case. Absolutely not. We are here to serve, to be a light, to love, and to have community. And so you just live differently, and you just reroute, and it just looks different. And so I value that my children get time with each other. They get time with us as parents. They get intergenerational time. So they get time with so many different ages of their cousins. We're so grateful to have family that's they want to be involved in our lives, and they're local. We're local. So it's a win-win. We have so many cousins, aunties, uncles, grandparents, and that whole intergenerational thing just happens, and it's beautiful because they can all learn from each other in different ways. And my kids are not only surrounded by their peers, they know how to have conversations with adults. It's pretty cool, and they're not afraid to talk to them, and they can hold conversations and ask questions and have adults actually want to answer their questions and have intentional conversations with them. They don't have to raise their hand to have permission to speak. And I understand the concept of that. You have to have some sort of order when you have 30 children in a classroom and 1 or 2 teachers, so totally understand that. But here it's different. I don't have 30 children, and my kid doesn't have to raise their hand, wait to be called on, to be spoken to, or anything. And again, I grew up in all of this, so I am not at all unfamiliar with any of that. I see it very different now. I see it through a whole different lens, and it's crazy wild how my mindset has changed, how my whole outlook on the world is just different. And I think God really just opened my eyes, and ever since, that year, 2020, hey, we'll just kind of go with the theme, 2020 vision. My eyesight just became like, whoa, like this is what was missing in I just saw it so different after I learned more things. So that's kind of, my list of things. And I just love that our mornings together can be slow most of the times. Now, I do teach classes at the Y. There are some mornings where they're too early, where my kids, there's no childcare, but they're sleeping, and I can just go while my husband is home. There are mornings when we do have to get out the door for a 9 a.m. class, and that's great. I love the structure. I love that, it starts our day. I get the kids up if they're not up already by about 7:30, 7:40. We're out the door by, 8:20, 8:25. And we get to the Y, and it's a great way for me to have purpose of getting out the door. It helps. We usually try to start school by 9 a.m. on other days. We usually try to have our Bible time and breakfast between that 8 and 9 a.m. window. Maybe take care of the chickens real quick, or if the kids want to play a game, if we want to make a nicer breakfast, or sometimes I'm already making the sourdough pancakes as they're coming down, or Winston can make oatmeal. I'm able to teach them life skills, give them opportunities to handle responsibilities. So dishwasher, laundry, picking up after themselves. Granted, I feel like I pick things up a million times, but that's just motherhood. But just giving them responsibilities. And then there are the days in these winter days where we've had a very mild winter ever since
late January, I want to say, early February. And there were some random really nice days. And it was like, you know what? Let's just, fine, go ahead and play. It's warmed up outside. You go outside. We don't always get this. It's going to get cold again. So let's just enjoy outside and let's do things outside. Or I would send my couple of my kids outside while I was doing school with one kid. So it can kind of change day to day, but we generally have the same structure. I'm learning to figure out kind of a system, and I'm going to be working on a chart of responsibilities and like what's going to be going on today. So I'm figuring out what my fit is, and I would encourage you that like if you're starting, you don't have to have it all figured out. Just start with the basics, and the basics of school are letters, numbers, colors, shapes, writing, reading. I mean, that's it, and living life. You don't have to feel like you've got to have 7 subjects. You've got to know what time you're doing what, when. Because guess what? Kids are unpredictable. Baby's going to poop. Someone's going to have a meltdown. Someone's going to want a snack. Some days are really nice out, so you're just going to take advantage of it. Yeah. And it's just the beauty of flexibility. You can go take a field trip somewhere, or you're going to go visit grandma and grandpa. Yeah. It changes. And so I'm figuring out and finding the different things, the different resources. There are so many resources these days that my mother-in-law and other people in different generations didn't have. And so it's really awesome to see a lot of things come to fruition these days. But just knowing how much is out there and seeing all the resources right at our fingertips, right on our phones. Like I love, I've shared her before, I can link to it, Arrows and Applesauce. Is I just like get a bunch of her PDFs. She had like a huge birthday sale, and so I got a bunch of different ones. I got Titus's up and coming kindergarten bundle, and I can reprint these. So I can reuse the preschool one that he just finished for Juliet when she's coming. I don't have to pay any more money, and it wasn't even that expensive. And he thrived with it. It was perfect. It was exactly what we needed. This chicken unit, we're going to be going through a bread unit. This family, the Jones Homestead Heritage Schoolhouse is what they're calling these curriculums. They came out with a bread unit, bread around the world. And I was like, well, I have to. I make bread all the time. I make sourdough. Let's do this. And so that'll be our next up and coming. Maybe I'll save it for the fall. I don't really know. I don't really plan to do much of that during the summer. So it might just become a, next fall kind of thing, and it'll be perfect. So I love unit studies. I love being able to capitalize on something my kid is good at, and not make them feel like they are behind on something. I'm going to try out reading with my 5-year-old in the fall and see if it clicks for him. And if not, maybe we got to wait a little bit longer. But that's the beauty, that like he doesn't have to try and keep up with the rest of the classroom per se. And he can thrive kind of at his own speed and level, and tackle it in his own time. It's going to happen. He's not going to be 10 years old and not be able to read. So yeah. And I just closing it all up here, just all the conversations we get to have with our kids, and family time and meal time. Our suppers are together majority of the time. Tax season, it's hit or miss here, but like dad's present, mom's present. We're not carting kids around, and not to say we'll never do activities or sports as they get older where they might be gone a night or whatever. Like that's definitely not what I'm saying. But my kids don't leave me all day to then come home and have extra things to do, or a friend that invited them over and I feel bad saying no, to then I don't see them much. And so it's just the influences, and I just love that I'm not the only one influencing them. Mind you, like there are grandparents involved, there are aunts and uncles, our neighbors, our church family. We go to the Y, so they've got friends there that they play with. But like I get such sweet feedback from teachers about my kids that like, and I'm not trying to say I'm a perfect mom and my kids are perfect. It's absolutely not. But like some of the comments, I'm like, wow, like that's awesome, Winston. I'm so glad to hear that your teacher said this about you. And so I think it's so cool because I didn't grow up that way, and I get to see my kids live this, and I get to be a part of that, and I have to remind myself, even on the hard days, that like I'm raising these little humans. I am their teacher. I am their mother. I nourish them. I I have to give them, I show them love. I care for them. All their emotions, like everything, all the ups and downs and tantrums and sadness and joy. And it's just wrapped up in this whole beautiful mess. Sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, just overwhelmed with so many different emotions, whether they're good and bad and hard. And yeah, I'm finding that homeschooling really fits me really well with my personality, but that I can actually, it's not that it fits me. It's that I'm figuring out that I can do homeschooling Gabby style, if that makes sense. I can do this. And people around me have encouraged me that I can do this and that I am doing it. And so I just wanted to encourage you with this episode that wherever you're at, I don't know if you'll ever homeschool, or maybe you'll decide to at some point, or you have little kids and you're not quite there yet, but you will be, or you desire to have children, or you've been contemplating trying out homeschooling, and maybe just have conversations with your kids about it, and they might understand. Probably will be resistance. It's a huge change. I know one of my sisters did go to school up through some of her, I want to say elementary school, middle school age, and then was pulled into homeschooling for the rest of the time. And that was a huge transition for her and change for her. And so, it's definitely not easy. It's not just going to be a breeze once one kid has been exposed and used to one way. Same with the parent. But obviously, I'm sure since 2020, many of you have tried on homeschooling for size. I don't know. But if not, this is just my experience. And, I'm just sharing the journey and the ride here. And I just wanted to share some of those perks that I didn't really know I would find so much value in and be so thankful for. Just realizing how much has stripped families apart and lessened their time together and has them going in every which direction rather than just confiding in each other and spending time together and just valuing time together and not needing things outside of home life and learning to serve others together and think of others. And like I said, it's just shifting how you live your life and the community that you have and the people you surround yourself with and talk to and interact with and your kids play with and do things with. I'm a social person, maybe a little less since I've had kids, but I'm a pretty social person. I like to, be out and see people or do things. And so my kids will have that. And it's not a stereotyped thing like I used to think it. I don't know why I'm just going to share it because it's super funny. I just always think of people in suspenders, like our homeschoolers and jumpers, but that's just me. But I want a pair of overalls. That's what I want for my gardening because they're super cute. So that's suspenders like, right? But no, I just think of like nerdy look. I don't know. That's just me. So my kids live in sports shorts and t-shirts all the time. So definitely not wearing the suspenders over here. Anyway, I digress. I hope that this episode encouraged you. If you have not left a rating or review yet, it would mean so much to me if you would head over to the Apple Podcast, scroll down, leave your honest rating and review, and I will catch you guys on the next episode. All right, bye.